Hey, welcome back to Grit Gym. We have Chris Amelon here. Chris is, are you originally, like an original gangster of Iowa City, or did you move here at one
No,
point?
I went to school here. And
Went to
then
school
I
here.
stayed. So I'm originally from Illinois. So
But it's Monday, it's April, what is it? We're in May, aren't we?
May.
We're Cinco de Mayo already happened, so we're May 7th.
Right.
It's a gorgeous day outside. We have an interview today, so Chris has gone through like the gamut of different exercise, I don't know what you call them, fads.
Right.
Over the course of years and years and years and years. So this is going to be interesting to sit down. What was the first thing, like, what was the, like, well, introduce yourself just a little bit before we're actually going to jump into it all.
So sometimes I describe myself as a Title IX kid. And what that means is I was born in 1972, which was right at the time that things were beginning to change athletically for girls.
Yeah.
And what that meant was, unlike people prior to my years, I was actually exposed to the weight room in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Because
That's pretty cool,
girls were
actually.
beginning to be respected on athletic fields, and then it wasn't, too much of a jump to figure out that they needed to lift a little bit too.
Yeah.
And so I was first introduced to a weight room at like 15 years old
That's awesome.
by a high school football coach.
Cool.
Of course.
Yeah, no kidding. Of course.
And that was my first experience. Now, once I got out of high school, then I was kind of on my own.
Yeah.
And like you said, I did a gamut of things from Nautilus was maybe kind of the first.
Well, yeah, if you were 15,
fad,
because Nautilus came out in the 80s, and
Yep.
yeah, Nautilus was like the first group of, like the first business to be like science-backed, but all their science
Right.
was done by them.
Right. And then when I came to school here at Iowa, I would use the field house, and anybody who was ever in there remembers the old 2 universal machines that sat
I've never
in the
even been in
bottom
there, so.
corners. They're gone now.
Oh,
But
yeah?
You would take your own weightlifting pin, and you would
For real?
stick it in, and you'd do your little workout, and so that was kind of the next thing that I did.
How'd that work? Did they lend out the pens?
No, you had to buy the pin, and it
Oh,
was
really?
like you held it close to your heart.
That's an
You
interesting
didn't
way
want
to
lose it.
kind of
So,
police the monopoly of the universal machine.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Cool.
So then after that, after college, I got just a little bit away from exercise a little bit. Had a couple of kids, tried to work out with young children, and that didn't really work out super consistently. So after they got a little bit older, I got back into it. And let's see, well, probably the next thing I did was body pump. For those of you who remember that.
Little Les Mills.
I got exposed to that.
Do curls for a minute.
Curls for a minute, my very first class. I thought I was big and tough and did the same weight the instructor did. I didn't understand that there were actually 120 squats in that music track.
Ouch.
And so I spent the next week not able to move very well and stuff. So I did that for a little bit, got bored pretty quickly. Started to move into free weights a little bit, got exposed to the bodybuilding protocol.
What was the first? Like, how'd you do your split?
Let's see, it was, of course, Monday was chest day.
Of course.
Of course.
International Bench Press Day.
International Bench Press Day. I think we did do chest and shoulders, and then back, and then, gosh, I'm trying to remember, legs and abs. And then,
I love that. That was one of my favorite things in the bodybuilder programs, that abs had their own.
Yeah.
The whole workout was just abs.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
Yeah. And so I did that for a little bit. I actually really liked that. At that time, I kind of began to train for a bodybuilding show and got into that for a little bit and cut weight and got very lean. Unfortunately, following that diet, and you don't know this part, I went into that with a cholesterol of about 168. By the time I got done with that, I was at 252. So
Wow.
At that point, that had to end, and I started again.
It's almost 100.
It's crazy.
I know, that's.
It was crazy. It was a heavy protein diet, and that's what happened.
You would have hit that. That would have been. I mean, if I'm going by the years right, then that would have been like the beginning of the Atkins, the low carb.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just talking about 250 grams of protein a day. I mean, it was insane. So then I had to look for a different way. At that time, I kind of picked up running too.
Yeah.
But despite kind of being in shape, I running didn't really agree with me, but I did it anyway.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of the reverse of your sayings. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway can go
Even
either
if
direction. So we've
good
gotten in
for you.
trouble over that, where people are like, but I want to max out every day. You said do it anyway. I'm like, oh my God, no. Do it anyway is about doing the thing that is hard to do, not necessarily.
Yeah, right, exactly. And at that time, I kind of transitioned out of bodybuilding and more into kind of a whole body.
Yeah.
At that time,
You mean a whole body workout? Yeah,
Mhm.
like where it wasn't just like trying to isolate different things. It was like trying to
Yep.
combine them. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And at that time, I decided, and this was about 12 years ago now, to go ahead and go get a certification, and I was getting pretty interested in it,
Yeah.
and start training. That worked out really
You
well.
mean when you say training, do you mean training you or training other people?
Training other people.
Yeah, because that makes a
Yeah.
big difference. When you start training other people, you really get a slap in the face of, wow,
Yeah.
this
yeah.
is different.
Exactly. I was fortunate that a good friend of mine is Chris Doyle's wife, and
Yeah.
Chris kind of pushed me into some good directions as
Yeah.
far as what to
Chris
read.
Chris Doyle, University of Iowa strength coach for the football team. So obviously D1 head strength coach for the last, I don't know, it's probably working on 20 years now.
Yep. He was the first one that directed me towards precision nutrition.
Oh yeah?
Because they were using it at the time. He sent
Yeah.
me to Mike Boyle. He
Yeah.
sent me to what ended up being Cressy, because then you could just follow Cosgrove, all those guys.
Yeah.
They all kind of circled in their own circles. So
They did. It was definitely like,
once you
what do you call it?
connected in-
Cronies.
Yeah.
I was trying to say nepotism, but I was like I sound like a dude saying that word. So.
Yeah, and so I started training and doing that. Unfortunately, I continued to run, and I also started playing tennis. So at that time, I had not really learned enough, and I'm not ashamed to say that, but I hadn't really learned enough to know how prepared your body has to be for running.
Oh, okay.
And-
yeah, you were using running to get into shape
Uh-huh.
instead of getting into shape to run. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Run to get, what is it? Run to be fit instead of be fit to run, is what I would tell people now.
Yeah.
And I ended up, those two sports, running, I was doing 40, 45-mile weeks.
That's quite a bit, actually. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
7 divided by that's at least 6 miles a day. What is it?
Yeah.
It's a little over that. It's between 6 and 7 miles a day.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of volume.
And after kids and the way hips changed and all of that, it just eventually didn't agree on my body. So I was a couple years into my training now. You're looking at, is
It's
that?
Teresa
Hi,
Sakanawa.
Teresa.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said tennis, Teresa's ears
Bam!
went up. Exactly.
Nah.
And anyway, the running and the tennis did not agree with my knees.
Yeah.
And so eventually, we're
Sit
going
on
up.
this.
I gotta go higher. I'm too short. Here we go. Up I am. Oh,
Now I won't look like such a gargantuan,
Look at that.
and you'll be in the picture a little bit better. So running didn't agree with your body,
yep.
and especially after kids. Can you real quick just go into like what happens when, like everybody knows what happens when you have kids, but like
Sure.
the inside expands and the hips separate and
They do. And really it kind of just changes if you kind of envision your hips to your knees. You know, before kids you're probably like this and your knee angle is like this.
Yeah.
Then after kids it becomes like
Yeah, a little
this.
bit more.
And that created a lot of stress, and not to get too technical, but just really on the outer part of my knees.
yeah.
And unfortunately I
And
had
it's taking
yeah.
a very stable joint and making it much less stable.
Exactly. And then pounding
And then
6 or 7 miles.
yeah, and you got to consider like your body is probably going to take about 1,500 to 1,800 steps per like
Yeah.
strides per mile. So you add that up over the course of 5. You know, you're running over 6 miles a day.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, it was, and eventually ended up with a torn meniscus, but then I had some other issues with kneecaps tracking outward, because
Yeah.
that's naturally going to happen if it's just going to follow the angle.
Yep.
And they tried to fix that. That fix didn't really take, and I ended up with what's called a distal femoral osteotomy.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. I think you've told me about this before,
Yeah.
but it's been a while.
And osteotomy means cutting of the bones.
Yeah.
So basically, as we talk about that angle, what they try to do is take this femur bone and break it. so that they can get that angle into the knee a little bit more like that.
Sounds really fun, huh?
Yeah. I almost went crazy because I was non-weight bearing for 2 months.
Were you really?
No weight at all.
Okay, and for somebody that has been active for a very long period of time, very much enjoyed the exercise realm, used it as probably like a source of like escape, as a source of like mental clarity, blah, 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 all these different things, and then being told, by the way, you can't do that anymore.
No more running, and I don't run anymore.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, but, but what,
It's a good reason to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also became when bad things happen to you in life, if you look for the little blessings. And you and I have talked about that before.
Yeah, the good and the bad.
Every injury that you have, it sends you in a different direction to learn. And so really then my focus became away from bodybuilding and all of that into, the best ways to train. What are the best ways to do things? How do you work around injury when you have somebody? Because seriously, 90% of the people you come in contact with.
And that's a real stat too. Like if we look at spines, 87% of people walking around have some kind of spinal stenosis. That's just the spine.
Yeah.
So 87% of people are walking around with some kind of spinal problem. So that's not even taking into account a shoulder, an elbow, a hip, a knee. All the other things that can be the wear and tear. It's very much the mileage of the body over time,
right.
and much less like these traumatic injuries that happen. So like everybody's got something.
Right, and your average personal training client, or at least mine, has always been from about 30 years old to 65.
Yeah.
And so you definitely see mileage there.
Yeah.
And so that all of my injuries helped me learn about how to train people around injuries, with injuries, how to maybe I hate to use the term correct because I'm not a physical therapist. I don't really correct.
Corrective exercise is kind of a funny term.
But just trying to make sure they're balanced and not imbalanced in their workout program, and making sure they're doing all the things that I didn't do.
Yeah.
Right?
So what were some so if you had to just list out like errors that you made along the way?
Oh, sure. Way too much cardio. Way too much running.
All right, there's one.
Yeah. Not enough stretching.
Not enough stretching.
So I would go in and typically I would do cardio for a warm up or run or whatever, and then I'd go right into lifting.
Yeah.
I didn't really ever pay attention to turning things on or making sure that things were moving how I wanted them to move.
Yeah.
And so those were two really big things that I did, and just too much of everything.
Yeah, just too much volume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too much of everything.
Yeah.
And then the final part would be the right nutrition.
Yeah.
I think comes into that part where if you're not eating the right things, then perhaps some of it is the exercise obsession was trying to make up for what I'd eaten.
I think that's really common. I think that's more common than you think. Yeah. Like a lot of people are like, well, I ate that biscuit last night, so I better go to the gym.
Need an extra mile.
Like, maybe you should just go to the gym for going to the gym.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of my story now. I've been training others for about 12 years. I actually do work in another gym. That is a kind of a CrossFit blend. But
it's really funny.
People always say, well, why would you go on this? I've been fortunate to get to meet Adam. He's been working with me to help fix this history of things that I have. And it's really 30 years of...
And I don't really even consider it fixing. It's more like... like for me, a lot of the time, like stretching is an easy example. Like I'm not really looking at what we should stretch. I'm looking at what we should not stretch. Like which exercises should we do? I don't know. It's probably a mix of the exercises that we should avoid. We should just avoid those exercises, and then your body will kind of take care of itself. Like you can't heal the body. The body only can heal itself, sort of thing.
That's true. Yeah. And so you've been great for me. I think you and I share a big passion for helping others and getting, I think, listening to you talk, I think we both made mistakes through our training that have taught us things. And,
I'm lucky enough that I didn't really have a lot of surgeries.
Yeah.
I've traumatically injured every joint on the right side of my body, but I never had a significant surgery. Like I had cauliflower taken out. I had my tonsils and adenoids taken out. I had my nose reconstructed. Those were the worst surgeries. So otherwise, everything's been able to be taken care of from not being having to be sliced open, which is really good.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But yeah, I can. That resonates with me so much when you say like your injuries helped you be able to train the people that you work with. I think it gives you some of that understanding of what they're going through, but also like gives you like a sense of belief in them too. But then also like you have an idea of what the plan was, like what the plan should look like,
right?
Because you've already been there,
right? Yeah. Right.
But I think people are really like I don't tend to have a lot of empathy for people when they get hurt. You know, it's just like, well, this is what we have. Now let's work for something better. You know, I'm not like, oh, that's so bad. That's so sad. And I don't think you are either.
Yeah, you can't really rewrite the book.
Yeah, it's already, it happened. What can we do now?
Yeah, what's the next chapter?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, it's just one of those things where now I think you look at it and I look at it like, how can we help you not only not maybe do some of the things, maybe catch that chapter before it's written, but make sure you're staying safe because there's some crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, that's why I like the an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
That's why.
So true.
Like if you just work out smart instead of just thinking that you're going to work out hard all the time, like it just is going to pay you dividends forever. If you think about just work hard, yeah, at some point you end up like me, a shoulder, a hip, a knee, an ankle. And now I'm actually stronger now than I've ever been, but like
yeah, right.
But like it would have been nice to go back and
only we had known.
Oh yeah, if only I had known then what I know now. You know, like you can do that all day long, but it'll like eventually that just eats you alive.
Right.
But you said so when you had kids, it was super hard to be consistent with your training.
Yes.
Was that a day-to-day thing, or was that like a macro level, like a micro thing, or a macro thing, or was it like all together? And how'd you figure it out, or did you just?
They got older. They went to preschool.
That's really funny.
That's really when it started to happen. You know, you tried. I actually put stuff in my home to do at home, but. The motivation at home.
It's not the same, is it? Because I've tried that before too. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and so in that point, I had everything I needed, but when you're super tired and you haven't slept all night, and your kid is asleep for 45 minutes, you think you really have to sort of weigh: do I want to work out or do I want to?
And you have to weigh that out, and then tomorrow is always readily available. It's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow becomes infinite.
And the sleep deprivation that you deal with young kids is really difficult.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really look at out here is the lifestyle that somebody's living on the outside of the gym. Like that's why we can't train every single person the same way. You know, like if like for me, if I have someone that is a young mom who's probably not sleeping and still trying to be at work every day, like she's only going to have one heavy week. Out of the month. Right. Out of that phase. She's not going to have 3 heavy weeks. Otherwise she just...
Right. And if you look at... Can I use the C word? Can I use CrossFit in here?
Oh, I thought you were meaning like the C word, like see you next Tuesday. I was like, damn, Chris, like going hard. Yes, you can say CrossFit all you want.
The CrossFit world, you know, so when you walk into those workouts so much, it's just constant intensity. And you know, if I were a mom and I went into one of those and then had to go like pick up my children late, so understanding that about people, the first thing I always ask clients when they come in the door, and I've heard you say, "How are you feeling today?"
Yeah.
And I hear you go through almost the same gamut. Like, did you sleep okay?
Yeah.
How was work?
I try not to let them know that that's what I'm doing.
But you're
like I just want it to seem like I'm interested, and I am. I am interested, but it's not just for like. There's more to it than just.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Constant adjustment.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do a few different things. We did a pin test for a while. We did a jump test. We did a grip test to see what people. We did.
Was the pin test reaction?
No, we just did 10 seconds. So they'd take a pin on a piece of paper for 10 seconds, and just see how many dots they could get. That's a really common way to test your nervous system. Vertical leap test, another one. We did grip. We did heart rate variability. We did all these different tests like on people, and we just like every single time it just like came back to like the questions are better.
Yeah.
They're easier. They take less time. They're more just interactive and just kind of
right.
How
if you're watching people in their session, you can kind of see, you know, they'll fatigue faster, and so you can make adjustments there. So for sure. Yeah. So that's kind of my story. That's what I do now. I kind of train people out of my house, and then I train at the gym. I teach a few classes, and then I actually sneak over here to have Adam help me, work on the things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
And it's been great for me because it gets me out of that environment where others are depending on me, and I can just sort of focus on what I'm doing.
I bet it's a little like working out at home, where it's like you're out of that space. Like it's a different space. But
Yep.
yeah. And then what was the other thing? Like what'd you pull off the floor the other day?
Oh, gosh, what did I tell you it was? Was it 270?
I think it was 270.
270.
I don't remember how many reps you got, but
a couple.
did you?
Mm-hmm. And I
so
could've
270
done
off the floor is pretty good for anybody, let alone like you're not like a huge person.
Well, yeah, we're working on that. Working on that. Always working on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's just really a testament to, maybe working on the things that, not that everything we do are things that I hate, but they're things that I need. And so when I worked out at home, and this is something that you guys should understand at home if you're doing it, you have a tendency, first of all, the final thing I would tell you of the things I've learned is everyone needs a coach.
Oh yeah.
Coaches need coaches. People need coaches. Everybody needs a coach because you're going to be able to see a lot more progress that way, and they're going to make you do the things that maybe you're not as good at.
Yep.
Which
that you don't want to do.
You need to do.
When you don't want to do them.
When you don't want to do them.
Mm-hmm.
The do it anyway. That's where your do it anyway comes into play, I think.
Yep. Basically.
So, I think that's really important for people. And
yeah, and I think that's across the board too. I don't think like some people go, oh, that won't work for me, or I work better this way. That's bullshit. Everybody works better with a coach. Everybody works better with teammates. It's one of those things like everybody does better with that.
Yep.
In that environment.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, for sure. So.
Did you learn that being a coach, or before having a coach, or before you had a coach?
I would say
wasn't it?
I've had times where I've been coached, not coached, coached, not coached, and I always have made more progress than when I had a coach.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what was the first thing you said to me when I walked in the door? I said I should know what I need to do, but you said it's hard to see.
Oh, it's hard to see the picture when you're inside the frame.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like people think that I'm saying that to them. No, I'm saying that to me because like I get in the habit of like I'm just like everybody else where I'm like, oh, I don't need a coach, I can figure this out. Oh, I don't need teammates, I don't need support, I can figure this out. And it's like, dude, you're not an island, and you don't have to be an island.
Right.
Like, get out there and get a coach. Put your ego aside and get a coach. So that's something that I say to me. You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. So when Adam's doing his squats, he can't see Adam doing squats.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's kind of my general story, and I love doing what I'm doing, and I like helping people. And I'm fortunate I don't have to do it full time, but it's about a 20 to 30 hour a week job for me. So
that's a good amount of time. Yeah, that's just enough time to let it drive you crazy.
Yeah, and I will say I spend always an hour a day. That's sort of like coaching time or teaching time, but I always spend about an hour a day learning.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's huge. That's one of like probably the biggest things I respect about anybody, but especially you, like, because you'll come in and talk with me about it and ask me questions about, what do you think of this? And, oh, well, I think this, and this. And like go through stuff, and we'll bounce back and forth ideas or perspectives on the same thing, and you really have a curiosity around it. I really respect anybody who has a healthy curiosity, because it's just one of those things that gets really attacked in our world today.
We want everybody to sort of conform and be kind of robotic, I think, at times. Adam doesn't know this, but also I'm just trying to distract him so I can do one less set of the thing I didn't want to do.
Ow.
We won't talk. No, I'm not really doing that. We do have some great discussions about different things. And
so you're not just trying to get out of doing the next
No, I actually do it. Maybe a little extra rest.
Yeah, but I do think like 1 hour, everybody's like, how do you find time to fit in one more hour? It's like, it's a priority. It's like, I wouldn't live without doing this thing. It'd be like, for me, it's like, I wouldn't walk out the door without putting on clothes, right? I wouldn't walk out the door without brushing my teeth. I wouldn't go a whole day without eating. I wouldn't, like, there's certain things that are priorities that you make time for.
Right.
That's one of those things.
Right. For sure. And I think one of the hardest things is to sort of control your media that you have.
Yeah. You mean like consumption of?
Yeah, I
Or-
mean, you can get sort of sucked into, I think, too many short, choppy things. You know, like you can get onto Instagram and you can see these 45-second blurbs, but you don't really understand the whole picture of So I try to read a half an hour at that time, a book or something.
Right, yeah.
And then the other half an hour will often be just sort of looking out, seeing what people are doing,
Yeah.
following some of the people that I was pointing in the direction to follow.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's an interesting point because, like, a lot of the time, you only see, like, a lot of time when it's all a sales pitch, right?
yeah.
Everything that you see, that 60-second thing or anything like that, for the most part, they might be trying to give you a little education, but it's just a sales pitch. Really, like, the big difference between, like, from, like, I didn't have any money, so I just, like, consumed blog posts and books because they were cheap, right?
Right.
And then at some point I was like, screw this, I'm going to go deep, and I would buy the information product, and the information product would just open up a whole new world. You know, and I didn't have any money to be buying those, but I was like, I'm going to do it anyway.
We're investing. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it's super important. So, and those of you out there, like, I think that's a good thing for you guys to do is to just invest in whatever it is you want to learn about.
Yeah.
Whether it's
And-
nutrition or.
And it's a really good point to call that an investment, not an expense too.
Yeah.
Because you spending money on your health will never
No.
cost you
Oh.
money. It will never
You
cost.
make money on that. That's
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
like education never costs money. People ask me why I spend so much time on social media. It doesn't cost me they're like, but your time is such an asset. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't cost me money to do these. I mean, literally, it doesn't cost me money. But
Right.
but I could be working on other things that did make us money. But
Right.
I'm not. I'm doing this. It does not cost money to work on your health. It does not cost money to educate yourself. Never will. I don't care how much it costs.
Right.
Or how expensive it is. It will never cost you money.
And my parents did not live a real long life. By the time I was, my father passed away when I was a senior in college, and then my mom
Really?
about a year
That's
after that.
early.
Yeah, they were in their low 60s.
I like that. That sounded funny, but it is nice when a couple goes at about the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of even if you take out the romanticism of all of it, it's just kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Love them. They did not live a life of health.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was just frankly the end result. But you know, I think that it's hard to put. To me, it was hard to put. It would be hard to put a value. And now I'll say it. I'm 45, and I. Think
Oh God!
I know
It's over.
But it's really for me now. I think about my next 15 to 20 years and how important those. I want to be around. I want to.
Yeah.
There's a lot I want to do.
And it's not really even I don't know. I think we've talked about this a little bit before, where it's not about the longevity. It's about what you can actually put into the years.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
because my parents didn't. Their last 5 years were not quality years.
Right. It's
at
like that
all.
Dan John. Like he says, I want to be strong and drop dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or be strong, drop dead when your friends do, maybe.
Yeah.
Or your spouse or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like it's you want to have as long an independent. I think about independence to life as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I see my grandma going through that right now. Where the other day, I really wish I just would have like picked her up out of the wheelchair and put her in the car. But it turned into this whole process. And I didn't know that she couldn't pick her leg up. And it was just like, oh my God, it tore me up.
I know.
I like the strongest woman I know, and like admire her so much. And it just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
bugged me a lot. Did not like that very much at all.
Right. Right.
But that's why you do it.
That's why. Yeah.
To prevent that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. And Turkish get-ups. Those are the best.
They really are great. If everybody did a Turkish get up every day,
You'd
they'd
be golden.
be much better off for it. But,
So,
well, anything else where can they follow you?
you know, I have a very low social media profile, but I'm trying to get better. So it's just, yeah, I'm trying. I do have an Instagram page that I can.
It's
link
really
to.
good, actually. Like you do a good job. Like more people need to see that.
I tend to make fun of myself. You know,
You're really goofy.
We're in a world where people like to make themselves look beautiful because they're comparing themselves to who I don't know. Rather, I kind of like to take the opposite approach. Like, listen to how dumb I am. I rode my bike to work on a day where there was a tornado
That was so
warning.
funny. That killed me.
You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I do.
I think in images and videos, basically. So I'm just imagining you just
Yeah.
pumping it back.
my legs are still sore. So I like to have fun with it. I think we take ourselves way too serious sometimes.
Serious.
I think we get way too offended too easily.
Oh my
try
God.
to tell everybody, I don't know, live some pretend social media life instead of the real life that it is. So that's kind of what mine has become. And so I'll put a link up of it, but if I can find my own link, which I think I can do.
What's your name? What's the name on Instagram?
It's
at.
It's gosh, is it? I think it's at Chris Amelon. That's it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so is it? It's CH, right? It's not
CH,
Chris.
yeah.
Yeah. CHRISAMELON.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So at Chris Amelon on Instagram, and then probably the same on Facebook, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's just my name.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
So you guys can go over there and follow her. Is there any big message that you wanted to get across before we jump off of this?
How about this one? A while back you had Mike Boyle on and you talked about your body, one car.
Yeah.
But let's break the car down a little bit and let's talk about your joints are like tires.
Yep.
And if you don't have your tires aligned, right? Remember how we talked about the hip and knee? If we don't have things aligned, you get uneven wear.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you do things a lot that involves a joint, like say you squat, and I'm going to go back to the C word, CrossFit, you're in a workout where you have 200 squats.
I keep thinking you're going to use the other C word.
Why?
And it's just like,
No, I won't,
whoa,
I promise.
Whoa. You
Clean.
can, like, whatever.
Well, and maybe next time. But, you have to be really picky about the volume. Remember how I said how volume got me in trouble? You have to be picky about the volume that you're placing on your joints, and you have to make sure that you're not doing things so much in one pattern. Making sure that your pattern is varied, and that your volume is reasonable, so that your tires, which may or may not be aligned right, don't wear down.
Yep.
And that's what your joints are. They're like tires, and they have a lifespan. And if you're going to abuse them, you're going to be visiting the replacement doctors.
Yeah.
Too early.
Did you watch Days of Thunder recently?
Yeah.
Because this sounds very much like Cole Trickle versus
Cole Trickle.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, you gotta try.
He's like, this is 15, or what does he say? He's like, 100 miles my way, 100 miles Cole Trickle's way.
Yeah.
And then one tire's all like jagged and the other tire's like smooth.
Yeah,
Nice.
you can envision Cole Trickle for sure, and how
That's
he
a
drove
whole
his
movie.
car.
That movie seriously might be like over 25 years old.
It probably is.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
It's a good movie
It's a good movie.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. So your tires are like a car. That's what I almost said.
Your joints are like tires.
Your joints are like tires, and they have a lifespan, and they have an alignment, and you have to take care of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Matters how far you drive your car.
Yeah, for sure.
So at Chris Amelon on Facebook and on Instagram, we're gonna hop off the show, but this was really good. Thank you. I'm glad that you came on.
All right. All right.
All right, thanks guys. Please slap the share button. I think it's down here I guess this would be to the right. I don't know what it would be for you, but Facebook gets me all messed up with the mirrored images and stuff. But thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks to you for being here.
Absolutely.
This was a good one. All right. So please slap the share button. Send this out to everybody you know. We'll be back tomorrow, Rachel and Adam show. And otherwise, have a great Monday.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.